just got a message that it's streaming live now on Facebook.
Great.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Fireside chat. On behalf of the Greater Boston Association of Realtors, thank you for joining. My name is Dino Confalone. I'm the president in 2021. And one of the things that I really wanted to do is acknowledge a lot of our support. And I wanted to thank Caliber Home Loans for being here today, especially Peter Carney and Rick Betancourt. Thank you so much for your support as always. I'd like to, this is going to be a quick fireside chat when it comes to questions and answers. If you guys have any questions, please put it in the chat box as we go. I will try to manage those questions and then ask our guests those questions as we go. Good morning, Peter Carney. With 16 years of mortgage banking experience, whether as an originator and a manager, we welcome you. I do have a much bigger bio for Rick. Rick, with over 18 years of mortgage lending experience, Rick is one of the country's foremost experts and practitioners of the VA home loan benefit. He has been a previous guest speaker and panelist as both an annual Department of Veteran Affairs VA Lender Conference and Military Influencer Conferences. In addition, he is a certified instructor for the Certified Veteran Lending Specialist class, which is presented by the National Association of Realtors. National Association of Mortgage Brokers, and he has been a subject matter expert instructor for numerous Massachusetts Association of Realtors VACE classes. For the last 7 years, he has been a sitting member of the Mortgage Bankers Association and was the 2018-19 president of the National Association of Mortgage Brokers. He was also the 2017 G-Bar Affiliate of the Year. Thank you again. He lives in Danvers with his wife of 16 years, Jen, and has a 16-year-old and a half daughter, Kaylee. Thank you. That was an awesome bio.
Well, I just love our veterans.
But thank you. So we'll start off real quick. There is some news on behalf of Caliber. Peter, if you would mind sharing that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah. Really excited to share the news that hit really expansive mortgage news wires on Wednesday morning that our group, Caliber Home Loans nationally, has agreed to terms to partner up with NRZ, which is a publicly traded real estate and investment trust, a REIT, and is a part of New Res Financial. So the new combined platforms will really create a one-of-a-kind team here in the mortgage banking industry with over $500 billion of mortgage servicing between Caliber's $150 billion and New Res servicing over $350 billion, and putting that together with our more than 1,500 originators and originating managers across the country into really a unique partnership. Large entities like that on the REIT side do not have any distributed retail platforms across the country. Some of their peers, PennyMac in particular. So our partnership with them will create really a unique opportunity for us to expand our already very growing outfit here in the Northeast and across the country. And we're really very, very thrilled to have this opportunity to expand on product that a real estate investment trust can put forward, and things like cost of funds, and be able to deliver even a sharper price to the street for our clients and in support of our referral partners.
That's great. Great news. Congratulations. That leads us on to getting down into the details.
Sure.
So Rick, just initially, if you could just tell us a little bit about Caliber Home Loans and your products, because I do feel like you guys have a niche and that you guys could really service our members.
We Caliber that's the reason why I came to Caliber in 2019 was because of its size, its product diversity, its servicing portfolio. But for me, fundamentally, is its commitment to the military lending sphere and our own internal military lending division that we have, headed by our SVP Brian Burjans, which was on our recent webinar with G-Bar. And I have been absolutely incredibly impressed with the way that our operations handles our VA purchase transactions. And I was just talking to Pete this morning. Most recently, I mean, a lot of our VA purchase transactions have been clear to close with 2 to 3 weeks left before the actual closing date. And numerous times we're asking the seller if we can move it up a little bit. And because they had to find suitable housing, we couldn't. So between the technology, the servicing portfolio, the product of the VA, and our commitment to the military lending community, or the military community, I should say, it's just incredible what Caliber has been able to do for our veterans.
So just tell us a little bit about why a seller would accept a VA loan over a non-VA loan.
It's the VA loan is hands down the best mortgage option out there in the U.S. There's a lot of stigmas and rumors about it, that it's bad, or that the 100% financing, you don't have any skin in the game. It's not a good deal, or it has the likelihood of it failing or not consummating is greater than conventional. Data is out there and completely supports the argument that there is no correlation between consummating a loan based on down payment or not closing the loan. So VA loans have 100% financing, and they statistically have proven to close equal, if not more, than conventional loans. There's no difference. The rumor that VA loans have to be, the property's got to be perfect. It's not true. But a seller wants to accept the VA loan because the no down payment piece of the VA loan means that the borrower, especially in this market, the veteran, keeps more cash in their bank. And what does that mean? When you have a market that is very hot with offers going way over asking, and we're starting to see some pressure on appraisals where they're coming in lower than what the contract price is. Well, those veterans, because they don't have to put a down payment, those funds can then be used to pay more than what the house is worth, or at least make the negotiation process between appraised value and contract price much easier to negotiate and keep together. So that is a fundamental benefit to why a seller wants to accept the VA. And then the second most important piece is Tidewater. Very few mortgage professionals and real estate professionals in and across New England understand what Tidewater is. And unlike Fannie, Freddie, USDA, FHA, once the appraisal is done, you get the appraisal, end of story, that's it. And if you all attended my webinar that we had, that Caliber, myself, and G-Bar put on, you can see that there's just absolutely, there's no credence to the argument that, oh, geez, these appraisal processes are different. They're the same, but Tidewater, VA is the only loan option out there. Tidewater provides an opportunity for the realtors, for the sellers, for the lender, for the veteran to work together to get that deal done. We will be notified within pretty quickly if that property is going to come undervalued. The appraiser initiates Tidewater, then we'll reach out to a point of contact, the listing agent or the buyer's agent, and say, you've got 48 hours to get us 3 additional comps to support the value. Let's work together to make this happen. Let's work together to find comps. Maybe there was something on B&T, a private sale, or something else that the listing agent used that the appraiser didn't see, try to keep this together. So
I've actually done deals before. I've had VA loans. I've never had any issues with them, but I've never heard that word Tidewater before.
Yep. Tidewater was put in place, don't quote me on the year, I believe it was 2012. It's based on a little community down in Virginia. And VA just initiated this particular policy. But I had about 5 or 6 Tidewater situations in 2020 where the appraised value was less than the contract price. Every single one of them closed. And on 3 of them, the veteran actually paid the difference. So if the house was valued at $500, but the sale price was $515, the veteran paid $515, and it was no big deal. It was fine. So the Tidewater, again, just provides opportunity to keep the deal together. Remember, conventional loans, there's minimum down payments. They might have already expended all the liquidity that they have, and they might not be able to keep that deal together. Whereas a veteran, the average Caliber veteran right now, 735 FICO score, 40.2% DTI, and on average have $27,000 in liquid assets. That's the average Caliber veteran, and we closed 27,000 VA loans last year, almost 77 closed VA loans per day.
Wow. Are there any funky rules when it comes to condo questionnaires, anything like that, for if there's anyone looking in the city when it comes to condos?
Condos, it's an amazing VA. Our team here in Danvers just got 2 condos recently approved, and it took 6 business days. VA condo approvals are super easy when you're working with the right team that understands what you have to get. And Caliber, beyond our VA, Caliber's condo development team, what we have here at Caliber is and I've been all over the country talking to lenders. most incredible condo team I've ever seen. We just recently got an FHA condo, 20 units approved in 3 days, because we at Caliber have full DELRAP authority up to 1,000 units, which means we can do that internal approval. Lois Brandow is our condo manager for our East Division, and she is phenomenal. So VA, there's no owner occupancy requirement. There's no reserve requirement. There's no budget requirement when you submit a condo for approval. Generally, there used to be 2 issues that would deny condos. One was a leasing restriction. The other one is first right of refusal. Now, obviously, with any condo, if there's litigation, that is subject to the review of counsel for VA or the lender or whatever it's going to be. But recently, VA, and as we talked about in our webinar with GBAR and the Department of Veteran Affairs last 2 weeks ago, VA has relaxed their guidance on the leasing restriction. And with an affidavit from the veteran saying, I understand I can't rent this, VA deputy director or the VA director will generally sign off and okay with that. So again, just more evidence of updates and revisions to VA policy that the VA loan guarantee is making, because we want to get veterans into homes. So condos, piece of cake, especially with Lois Brandow and our condo team.
That's awesome.
Oh,
so tell me about the actual property itself. I mean, does it have to be perfect? I have a single family on the South Shore that has a ton of chipping paint on it, and I had recommended to the owner to, get it painted before we put it on the market. What's your opinion on that? Or like, banisters that are loose outside and stuff like that.
So the VA has a big misconception within the real estate mortgage community is that the VA does an inspection. The VA doesn't do an inspection. They do a visual observation of the property. The VA looks at what are called minimum property requirements. We call them MPRs, right? And the MPRs, the biggest 2 that we run into here in New England is chipping paint and missing handrails. That's primarily, and I do, as a mortgage professional, I do more VA in New England than any other New England-based mortgage professional. And I run into it a lot. And a lot of times it's like, well, the seller is not going to pay for it. Well, that's fine. That's fine. The veteran can pay for any mitigation costs to any repairs on the property. But there's a bit of a risk to do that before you own the property. But if Caliber and our underwriting and ops team have cleared the loan to close with the exception of just that piece, then what's the risk, right? There's really no risk there. So
you can close and then they're responsible for the mitigation after closing?
We could do an escrow holdback if it's weather-related items in other words, if you want to buy that, so that house that you were referencing down in the South Shore, if that was January with exterior peeling paint being pretty bad, we could do an escrow holdback on that, close the loan now, and then we would have to do an escrow holdback. We would mitigate the paint in the springtime and do that process there. But Caliber has been able to do that. Escrow holdbacks are tough because we at Caliber, we have to get that guarantee from the Department of VA as fast as possible. And so when we have an EHB outstanding, we can't get our loan guarantee. So we have to get that done as quickly as you can. But weather-related items and escrow holdbacks are fine. But when it comes to property condition, you can also, except for peeling paint, the veteran, the realtors, you guys can contact VA Regional Loan Center and request a waiver. You can actually call up the VA Construction and Valuation Division and say, you know what? I don't think this is a safe, sound, sanitary issue. I'd like to request an MPR waiver. The realtor can request it. The loan officer can request it. The veteran can certainly request it. And a VA deemed, because once the VA appraisal is uploaded into the portal, VA has access to that appraisal. So they can look at the MPRs in question and decide, Marty Finland is the valuation officer and a dear friend of mine out of the RLC in Cleveland. He can decide, yeah, that's okay. I've gotten numerous MPR waivers because it wasn't an issue. So
a question came in the chat box. What is required for a purchase on a VA loan on new construction single families?
So that's a great question. Caliber has been doing a lot of Caliber has across the US, not so much up here, insane partnerships with DR Horton, KB Homes. We do a lot of new construction. And I've done a lot of new construction VA up here in New England. So all that you got to do with VA new construction is understand that we have to get the builder ID submitted, and we got to get that sooner or later. I have a little deck of 7 forms that the builder has to complete. So generally, depending on when the construction is going to be completed, we'll get the purchase and sales agreement, the plans and specs. Our team will order an appraisal based on plans and specs, and then the builder submits those documents to us as fast as possible. We get the builder ID within 24 hours from VA, and that's it. we obviously, just like any new construction, our team here at Cal, we need to get the certificate of occupancy, make sure everything's done, the property's complete. But we do VA new construction all the time. And what's nice about VA loans is the way that they're priced in the industry. We have the ability to lock those rates for a long time and still maintain a pretty low rate for those veterans. And because of our construction experience at Caliber, we offer a rate lock up to 1 year.
Wow. So one thing that I have to admit is there's definitely a lack of education on this product. And I feel like I really want to thank you guys for, creating and carving this niche, because I really feel like our members need this. So what is your opinion on our members, our realtor members, on how we can help our clients that we don't really, I think we have to ask the questions, like when we're in a buyer consultation or if we're in a listing presentation, and we basically ask them, are they veterans? I feel like it's like a question that a lot of people are not asking. That's my first part of that question. The second one is how do we target these, basically, how can we target this type of business? How can a realtor basically go after this and just provide the value that I think there's definitely not a ton of education with this.
No, at any given time, there's only about 7% of all veterans in Massachusetts are using their VA home loan benefit. There's about 27,000 active VA loans right now in the Commonwealth and about 380,000 veterans. Similar stats are in Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont, and New England and generally. So very low utilization. Nationally, it's about 14%. So what does that translate to from a marketing and business standpoint? Huge opportunity. Huge opportunity to identify military members in your community and be an advocate. I'll tell you the thing that as you know, veterans are a protected class in Mass under Chapter 151B, right? So technically, you're not supposed to ask them if they're a veteran because that's how our Mass law works. It makes no sense to me, but that's how it works. So as a buyer's agent, I would sit down and say, great, we're going to get you pre-qualified. My favorite loan option out there. I love working with military. I love working with the VA loan. It's the best loan out there. It's got a great track record. It's got Tidewater. And if that borrower goes, well, I'm a veteran, done. Now you can have that conversation and engage and do whatever you want to do. And so as buyer's agents, I think it's important to be marketing yourself as, hey, I love helping our military. I want to volunteer. I want to work in the community. And that's what I love to do. And they will come to you eventually. As a seller, if you're a listing agent, you got to explain to the seller, like, listen, just because this veteran who earned their benefit through sacrifice to our country, it's not a loan program, right? So this is where we get confused, right? This is an actual codified federal benefit under the CFR of the United States. So when they have their necessary service time, they get this benefit. And it's a top 3 benefit besides healthcare and the post 9/11 GI Bill. This is number 3, right? So if you're an agent working with a veteran, you're actually kind of acting like a benefit administrator. So you really need to help that veteran use this. So as a listing agent, I'd be saying, like, listen, just because there's no down payment doesn't make it a bad loan. Now we'll talk a little bit about the difference between deposit and down payment, because that's one of the areas that I see incorrectly articulated on a contract to purchase all the time, is our real estate professionals are not getting this correct when it comes to a VA purchase. But
why don't you elaborate on that?
Down payment affects financing. Deposit is what you are going to be putting down on a contract to show the seller that the buyer is serious in purchasing the property, right? So the seller has no legal right to define or determine what the veteran borrows for financing capabilities. But the problem is our real estate professionals and some of our mortgage professionals confuse the two. So what are you going to put as for a down payment? No. I'm going to give you a deposit of $50,000, but I'm going to finance 100% of this $650,000 house. People have a hard time sometimes rationalizing that. And if you go to page 2, the top of page 2 in the contract to purchase, under the financing portion, it tells you what the loan amount should be. So if you're going to do 100% financing, 500,000, and the deposit's 50 on 500, a lot of times you'll see financing 450, and that's wrong. So if the contract's written that way and executed, it could translate into the P&S and not be correct.
So there's a misconception on strength of buyer with down payments. So, and the PMI gets thrown in. So if someone's going to be paying all this money and they don't have skin in the game, like you said, I feel like we have to fight that misconception of down payment versus deposit.
Yeah, but deposit, we tell our team, we teach, when I teach loan officers across the United States, like, listen, here in Massachusetts, If you're a veteran and you have zero money for a deposit, you're not going to win, because the seller has the right to say, I don't want to accept this offer. This borrower has no deposit on the purchase transaction. That's the problem. And I tell veterans, like, you got to save some money. You got to have some cash, guys, girls, whatever. But if a veteran, where it burns me is when a veteran comes up to a $600,000 home or 575, and they put down a 5% deposit of 30 grand, and they're still denied because it's a VA loan. That's a problem. And that happens all the time.
Well, so again, the perception is that what happens if it doesn't appraise? But then you have Tidewater, you have things like this that are reinforcing that it's actually legitimate. So I think hopefully we're doing that here. We're educating people, but I think we have to continue hammering the point. The VA loans that I've worked on have been in like West Roxbury, guys that are back and they're working for the fire department or something.
Yep.
So like, I kind of know, I'm like super sensitive about when I have a listing in a specific area that I feel, and I make sure that I'm educating the owners that have been there the 30 years, you know what I mean? So I think it's an individual thing per realtor to try to make sure they're educating themselves and also educating their clients.
And they're great for some of our higher, some of our communities where you have larger sale prices. Another misconception that VA isn't good for towns like Brighton or Brookline or Linfield, where you have those 800, 900, 1.2 million. January 1st, 2020, the Blue Water Navy Act was signed. There are no more VA loan limits. So a veteran, if they have the income and the credit to qualify with Caliber, they could buy a $2.5 million home with no down payment and have rates, 30-year fixed mortgage in the twos with no PMI.
Wow.
And oftentimes the other nice thing about accepting a VA jumbo offer, and Pete and I have had this conversation, Pete and I could just go on and on about the problems that sometimes arise with traditional jumbo purchasing, because the jumbo investors have numerous overlays, guidelines, first-time home buyer, reserve requirements, interest rate changes, all kinds of stuff. The VA home loan, jumbo loan, none of that. No reserve requirements, no first-time home buyer limitations, no trade line requirements, none of that. So if you got a veteran that's looking at a $1.2 million house and they're not putting any money down, I'll bet you money. They're not putting money down, not because they can't. It's because they don't want to. They don't have to. So why should they?
And I think a key point for for your members, Dino, is that strong knowledge of this product and executing some of these transactions is going to open up a great vein of and referral network for them. I mean, this is really as strong a referral network as there is really across, when it comes to word of mouth and sharing a great experience. And that's a key part of how Rick's built his career. And I think so. Being open to learning more and more about it, and being eager to do some of these transactions, I think will reap long-term rewards for those agents who really educate themselves and engage in the VA benefit.
Pete's 100% right. That's a great point. That the military community is very small, relatively speaking to the non-military community. It's a tight-knit community. They talk amongst one another, and if you do a phenomenal job and help and advocate and be that person in their corner, you will have a customer for life. I can guarantee you that. And they're all around us. It's just a matter of trying to find out where they are and being an advocate for them, because unfortunately, not a lot of people are. And this is one of the biggest transactions of their lives, and they need help. And that's why we're here, and that's what I've dedicated my life to. And Caliber's dedicated. We just had a major meeting with our top marketing director, our CEO, and I was blown away when one of the 5 pillars of our future strat plan at Caliber is doubling our VA production over the next 5 years. That's how committed they are to making it easier, better, faster, quicker for our military community.
Well, that is a great way to end it. And I appreciate you guys. And hopefully we're going to be part of that growth, and we are going to help our members. We're going to educate our members 100%.
We'd love the opportunity. That'd be great, man. It's great.
Yeah, this was wonderful. Thank you guys, Peter.
Thank you.
Rick Betancourt, you guys rock. Thank you for everything you do. And we're excited to help you educate our members and get to the next level. Enjoy the snow out there.
No.
All right, Dino, thank you.
Great. All right, guys. Thank
Have a
you.
great
Have a
day.
great day.